Hello everyone, William Johnson here, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the triangle, this amazing virtuosic instrument. I don't know why I laughed. I shouldn't laugh there. There is a lot of virtuosity in the triangle, and to be honest, I do not consider myself an expert on this instrument. All right? So, anyhow, my friend Gerald suggested, great suggestion, that I talk about some techniques that I used in a video, the cover of Summer Samba by Marcos Valle that I did with some amazing friends and family members. This video it's up on my channel. I'll put a link in the description below. The video was posted a few weeks ago, and so anyhow, the description will be down below, and you can check it out, and you will see that I'm playing several instruments, the congas and rattlers, and a fucha cabasa, as well as this particular triangle. Now, I have a few different triangles, and this one is my favorite. It's one of my go-tos. And my friend Gerald suggested that I talk about some of the techniques that I played in that video. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to show you some triangle techniques, some muting, and some opening. And now, as I get into that, I want to say that as I get into this video, let me add a caveat that the way that I'm holding this triangle right now is not the way that I held it in the video, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But first, I want to talk about just some different ways of holding the triangle and why I play the triangle the way that I do. Now, this is a more traditional, classical, formal way of holding the triangle, especially if let's say you're playing in a symphony and you want the full ring of the triangle with all of the overtones and everything. So what's happening here is there's a rope, a little string here, and the clamp. The string is between the clamp and the triangle, and this allows me, the way that I'm holding it, to not touch the triangle at all. The string itself is actually not really changing the tone of the triangle much at all, at least to my human ears, right? But if I were to place my hand on the triangle and play, I would get a much different sound. And what's happening here is, if I play it like this with the clamp, I'm getting the overtones. Whereas if I put my finger on it and hold the triangle with the actual flesh of my hand, I just get the pure ding of the triangle. Right? As opposed to a little more overtones with that. Now, neither one, in my opinion, is right or wrong. It really depends on the sound that you're going for and the genre that you're playing in, the style, the context that you are performing in. All of these things are what matters in the sound that you're going for. Some will say, well, it's not proper to hold the triangle, but really, if it's a pop context and you don't want all those overtones, then you want to hold on to the triangle or adjust the sound somehow. But it's not just pop, it could be in whatever the context. It's really about the sound. So anyways, the way that I'm holding this, let me talk about this real quick, is I'm basically making the string, you don't want the hole to be too big, but I'm making this hole big enough so that it's just my thumb and going through the string of the triangle. If the hole, the loop is too big, the triangle is just going to spin around and you won't be able to control it. Plus, when it comes to muting it, you won't be able to mute it quickly. All right, and get to the triangle easily. So you want to be able to facilitate that. The next thing is, what I'm doing here is I'm making an actual C. I'm going to link a couple videos that are great, where they do a much better job than I do in explaining this triangle and technique. So you make a C with your hand, like almost like you're going to shake someone's hand, right? And so, but you make a slight C and as you make that C laterally, right? You stick your thumb in there and rest the clamp upon your hand, okay? Now, as you've got it rested on there, take your index finger and split it. Put it on top of the clamp, the bill of the clamp. And now you have something like this. And I know I did that really quick, so if you want me to go over it a little bit more, you can suggest down below in the comments. But I'm going to link a few other videos where they talk about it a little more. I want to get to the muting and the opening techniques. So, now, also the other thing that I should mention is that I'm left-handed, And sometimes I play like a right-handed player, but in this case, I am playing left-handed. So my opening is going to the other direction. If you're right-handed and you're going to play with the beater in your right hand, then the way that this is set up, where the opening of the triangle is, you want that in the opposite side of the side that you're going to be playing with. And it's for obvious reasons. Now, you can play with this side, but it's going to have a different sound, okay? So the sound that the makers often intend for you to play with is here. But again, this is percussion, this is music. So you experiment, right? But anyways, there's some traditional rules that I'm giving to you. So take it as it may be. All right, so now, getting into the way that I hold the triangle. Let's put this down here. I just hold it right like this, okay? One of the reasons that I mainly do that is just because I play in a lot of contemporary situations where I need to pick up the triangle right away and then play it. It might be going from congas to this or what have you. Or sometimes I'm in the studio and I just think, hey, a triangle would be really cool. And then I just pick it up and start playing it. But the truth is also, in combination with that, so it's some of it is just, what is the word? It's practical, it's accessible. But I've gotten to like the sound of my flesh, my hand on the triangle. I just want that pure sound. I don't want all the overtones. Although the overtones sound really great in a mix, especially with the other instruments. But it's just an interesting sound too, as opposed to, although that's interesting too, but sometimes it might be too pretty, right? Anyways, I digress. Back to the opening and closing of the triangle. So muting the triangle. Let me play the rhythm that I was playing first. It went a little something like this. Or it went a little something like this. Okay? Open, close, close, open, close, close. All right? Open, mute, mute. And I'll talk about how I'm muting it in a second. The other thing is, you notice I'm playing on the side. Often players play down here. Okay? So that is a proper traditional way to play, on the bottom of the triangle. I play up here because it's closer to my hand and it gives me more of the ding. You get more of the overtones because you're farther away from the flesh of your hand down here. So all of the tones of the metal are now vibrating, as opposed to here, it's just the true ding without the overtones, right? So the first way I do it is I'm just holding it with this finger right here, my index finger. That's what I would consider the main fulcrum of everything that's pivoting. So that is it right there. So I could play it like that if I wanted to. But that's the main issue. So then I take the other fingers and put it down with that index finger, but you just leave it open, like you're going to shake someone's hand, right? Shaking your hand through the camera. And you just play like that, trying to get as pure and open as a sound. If your palm touches it too much, you're gonna choke it. Okay? So the muting sound, the second sound, you can take your thumb and get some muting there. So just touch the top. And as you strike, press into it a little bit. But not, you want it just a little bit. And then you're also working with dynamics. So loud, soft, soft, mute, mute, but also soft, soft. Now, you can mute it even more by using your thumb and your palm by grabbing it. But you're not just grabbing. You're pressing into the triangle. See that? I play it open and then I squeeze. So the sound's going ting, ting. So I'm pressing into it, squeezing. And then I squeeze to the point where I'm not too tight, just a little bit, Okay? It's like you are shaking someone's hand, a child's hand, right? You don't squeeze crazily. You squeeze enough to let them know that you acknowledge them. How are you doing, sir, ma'am, right? But not like a full-grown man, right? Same thing with the triangle. Caress. Like your wife's hand. Caress it, right? Your girlfriend, your boyfriend, right? Your husband, whoever your spouse is, you caress their hand. Okay, notice I'm not using my thumb. Then I can use my thumb and the palm, which is typically, now at the video that I did, Summer Samba, what I did. So now we'll play open, mute, mute, open, mute, mute. And there you have the rhythm. And you can reverse it, which I also did. Missy Elliott says you can flip it in reverse the triangle, right? That's what I also did. Instead of going, I went. A little variation. And there you have it. Some opening and muting of the triangle. Such an amazing instrument, isn't it? Anyhow, I know some of you are like, you really spent all this time on this video on the triangle, but you want to know what? Every instrument has some type of virtuosity. Let me add this little caveat in the end of this video, some more advanced techniques, which advanced, but honestly, I'm not, or I don't consider myself an advanced player of the triangle. If you want to see some amazing percussionists or what they can do on the triangle, check out some symphony orchestra players or some Brazilian percussionists and those that study Brazilian percussion. I tell you, there's some amazing percussionists out there, and really just percussionists from around the world. There's some amazing people out there. I'll try to link some folks and some videos down below in the description. However, I do want to show you some advanced techniques, and I call them advanced for this video because they are a little bit more complex than what I showed you earlier in the video with that. So we're going to play on the inside of the triangle, about an inch up to the top, and on the bottom about an inch to the right. For you, it might be the left, depends on which side in your hand that you're playing with. So we're going to play on the inside, muting and opening, but playing doubles, playing across the triangle like that. Okay? So let's combine it with the rhythms and the technique that we did earlier.